Hello everybody, this is SMA Watson. We're going to be playing some Tribal Apocalypse today. It's Underdogs, and we're going to be playing Worms. You can't ask for a more big dumb creature, in my opinion, than Worms. You know, the original comes to mind is always going to be like the Craw Worm, and that is the first like fatty I ever remember having as a Magic card. But beyond that, so this is basically the same shell as the Eldrazi Reanimator deck I played. We have the same 10 reanimation spells that have the same basic 10 effects. Well, 3 effects. Still running 4 Entombs, 4 Careful Studies. I switched out the Ponders and the Ideas Unbound for Forbidden Alchemies. Um, Generally, I think Forbidden Alchemy is like it's hard for me to say which one's better, whether or not Ideas Unbound or Forbidden Alchemy is better. I'm trying Forbidden Alchemy this time. It does require getting to 3 mana, which makes it very slow, but you see more cards, and you put the same number into the graveyard, so it should be pretty good. Um, as far as our creatures go, we're like I said, we're doing the Wurm tribe. Um, our first up is we have the Massacre Wurm, which 6/5 for 6. So it's the cheapest to reanimate. It's also the only one we could potentially cast, but I don't think we're winning a game if we have to cast it. And it's generally going to be like its -2/-2 effect is probably only going to kill 1 or 2 creatures because of how fast we're trying to bring it down. But if it kills a creature with that, it then becomes a 3-turn clock, so it just very quickly can end the game from there. It's no Elishnorn, but it's probably almost as close. About as close as we can get without actually just running Praetors as a tribe. And that runs into the problem we only have like 2 or 3 good ones. And they're all legendary. In my opinion, the rock star of the deck, though, is the Pela Wurm. Not if I don't know what my opponent's playing, I think the Wurm to go to, like if it is a first turn Careful Study on the play, and I had literally all 5 Worms in my hand and a reanimation spell, the ones that's going to the graveyard is going to be Pela Wurm, because it gives you it's sort of the total package. Like other worms may be better in individual cases, but against all scenarios, Pela Worm is at worst the second best, and often just the best. 7 life is super relevant. That's a lot of life. That's 2 bolts and damage. So like against a mono red deck, if you reanimate a turn 2 Pela Wurm, you're basically telling them, okay, well, I'm going to kill you on turn 5. So you have till turn 5 to do 27 damage, which they often just can't do. Like 27, like even just bolting, that's 7 bolts. No, it's 9 bolts. So it's a crazy amount of burn to try and actually get together. And if they try and it's the tramples, you can't chump it well. Like the most you're gonna buy yourself is a turn if you chump it 3 times in a row. Um, then we have Plated Slagworm. This guy feels like he's the one that I'm going for against like a controlling black deck that's using Doomblade over Edict, or a basically controlish decks that are going to try and use pinpoint removal to deal with the giant creatures. Since he has hexproof, he dodges anything that's targeted, so they have to have an edict effect to get him off the board. As an 8/8, he's super hard to actually kill in combat, and he only takes 3 swings to end the game, sometimes 2. Some decks do 4 damage to themselves pretty quickly. Engulfing Slagworm is just there as a 7/7 body. Like its ability is useful because you can use it on defense. Like it is. This is sort of the worm I don't really want to have to be using because there are times he's going to be the best one. If I need to be playing defense, if I need to be blocking, the fact that he'll block, eat a creature, and give me life, he basically can just be an abyss sitting there that they have to attack into. So if there's something else going on, like he's probably the best second worm to get into play. because very few decks are going to be able to, like, if you're attacking with something else, they're going to have very hard time killing you through losing a creature and that creature going into your life total every turn they attack. Symbiotic Wurm is the worm we're going to use against Edict effects. If they're playing Geth Verdict or Cruel Edict or Diabolic Edict or Chainer's Edict, sack effects basically. The fact that it puts 7 1/1s into play after it dies is super powerful because it means basically there's a very low tempo loss of it being edicted. Downside is that effect doesn't trigger if it gets exiled, so it's functionally just dead against white. It's just a 7/7 do nothing because it's either going to kill them by swinging several times or get exiled. Nova Blast Wurm is sort of the all-in one. You can't reanimate a second worm. You're just relying on it swinging and in the game. But it does destroy all other creatures every time it swings. So this is the guy he's going to be the go-to against like elves, because that's going to basically, well, in Underdog we're not going to have to worry about elves, but like I guess plants would be the tribe that's going to be trying to combo us out in Underdog. And the fact that it wipes the board every time it swings means they can't get ahead. He kind of acts as a moat because he plays defense by basically being like, well, if your creatures don't have haste, they don't get to attack, and they don't get to block either because they get destroyed. So he's super powerful when he's doing his job well. And that's what we're kind of relying on. I did consider playing this as a more of a Fritz style rather than a traditional Reanimator. Just going kind of junk and playing on burial rites to sort of milling myself to get them into play. But I think this is the better plan for when Entomb is legal. If you can't use Entomb, I think then going junk is a better style for this thing. But with Entomb, I think this is better. As far as to improve if you wanted to improve the mana base, you could take out some of the like drowned catacombs and underground rivers, put in obviously underground seas and what's it called? I can never remember what the black blue fetch. Yeah, I just don't know what it's called. I can picture it like Polluted Delta. Yeah, Polluted Delta. If you wanted to like. If you were going the junk route, I think you pull out Engulfing Slag Wurm, and you add in Armada Wurm as another castable worm, and I think that's I think that would also be a very valid version of the deck that I might actually try maybe next month.